All right. Thank you. Happy New Year to everyone. It's the first meeting of the year, January 6th, 2025.
Really?
Yes, amazing. So I have on the list to present tonight Chris Peirce, Randy. I have a couple of little things to share. Is there anyone else who has anything to share? David. Lauri, do you have anything to share?
Kirsten, tell us about Wednesday.
We have your guest speaker
Yeah,
here.
I'm happy to do that. Happy New Year, everybody. On Wednesday we have a guest speaker joining us for our usual monthly meeting. That'll be January the 8th. It's back in our normal space of lecture room A104 in the Bob Wright building up at UVic. So we're back in our normal space. And our speaker, and if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the fellow is actually here in person tonight. You are.
Hello.
Yes. Very, very nice to see you. I recognize you because, of course, I met you up at the Center of the Universe a couple of months ago. Byron Elliott, also known as Puppy, Pack Puppy, but you like to be called Puppy.
Yes.
Very
nobody
nice
mispronounces it.
And that's great that you are able to join us for Astro Cafe tonight. But Puppy will also be up at UVic on Wednesday talking about his experiences in the Pitcairn Islands, where he was celestializing the descendants of the I guess the infamous mutineers of the HMS Bounty. So very much looking forward to that. I have not yet Googled what the population of the Pitcairn Islands is.
50.
Whoa.
Wow. Okay. So yes, very much looking forward to your presentation on Wednesday. So yeah, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. This is great.
All right, Chris, would you like to be next?
Sure. Thank you, Margie.
Thank you, Kirsten. Oh, before we hear from Chris, is there anyone on the Zoom call or anyone in the room who is new tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, several.
All right. Let's introduce those people.
Hi, I'm Rob Gillespie. If you can see me anywhere, guess not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
there
there.
we are.
You're somewhere up.
Yeah, I see myself now.
Hi there, I'm Ian. I'm here with Puppy tonight.
Oh, and I'm Max. I'm also.
I brought an entourage, sorry.
Excellent.
That's good. Ron, can you tell us something about yourself?
It's Robert.
Rob, thank you.
Yeah, I have nothing, no skill or deep knowledge to add to this group, but I love astronomy as a hobby, and I was encouraged to join you by your superstar ex-manager, now retired with his cello playing wife. Who am I forgetting?
Oh, Oliver.
Can't remember his name.
Oliver?
No, there are seatmates. I don't think so. There are seatmates at the symphony.
Okay.
Used to
Plays cello.
used to manage the.
Oh, Jim Hesser.
Jim
That's-
Hesser,
Oh, of
Yes.
course.
Jimmy Betty,
Yes, he got you.
our evangelist.
And I'm terrible on names. Right.
Excellent. Welcome. And the other two gentlemen who are with Puppy, do you have any, would you like to introduce yourselves?
So I'm Ian, and I'm basically here with Puppy tonight, and I'm his host, so he didn't have to scramble to find a place last minute, and I'm big into the outdoors as well.
Thank you.
And I'm Ian's friend, and I'm studying to be a library technician. That's about it.
That's good. Where are you studying?
Langara, actually, I'm taking school online.
Great. Thank you very much. Chris, you're next. Chris
Sure.
Purse.
Thank you. Yeah, so when I was hosting last month, I forgot to mention, so I thought I should mention it anyways. In the December bulletin of RASC, it listed some people who actually have now got their observing certificates. So I wanted to formally recognize Marjie for getting Explore the Moon with binoculars, because you were now duly listed, and Kirsten for getting Explore the Universe and Explore the Moon with a small telescope. So I meant to mention that last month, so well done. Yay. Just an encouragement to anybody else, especially the newer members, these observing certificates are a great way to get started. Explore the Universe is a selection of various things, including some targets on the moon in the solar system, and then constellations, and then some deep sky objects. So it's a really good way to get started. And Explore the Moon is a pretty good survey of things on the moon. I think it's a lot of fun. So and certainly we know, I think if you've been around, you know that Kirsten is moving on to, I think, both Double Stars and Messier's, which are two other programs. So yeah, this is let's get some more Victoria Centre members on the lists. The other thing was from this morning's What's On This Week. Not that we'll probably be able to do anything about this at the moment, but Venus is at its maximum opposition around now. And one of the things I like to do when that happens, if we ever get any clear skies, is try to find Venus during the day. And Venus is visible during the day if you get nice clear conditions. And when it's a nice long way from the sun, this is a nice safe time to do it. Because what you want to do is sit somewhere where you can be in the shade and yet still see a good chunk of the sky. And then that way, you know, you won't, because you often have to go looking with binoculars. If you're in the shade, then therefore you're not going to accidentally arrive at the sun with binoculars, which is is a terrible thing to do. And it can leave you with permanent eye damage, right? So it's certainly, you don't want to do that. So what I like to do is, especially on the, you know, when we get some clearer weather in the summer, if this happens, is my sun deck faces east. So once the sun is kind of past noon, I can sit out there and see quite a bit from to the south and to the east in the sky. So I'll get out an app and see roughly where's Venus. See if I can find it with binoculars. And if I can do that, then I try to see if I can actually see it. And both of those are possible. You can see it with your naked eye if it's nice and clear. It's very hard to get your eye to focus on something that's so small and so far away, but it is possible. It really helps if it has a landmark. So I'll try and see if it's close to my house, I'll try and get it so it's right by my gutter or something, so I can have a landmark to look at. So I just wanted to mention that, because although we're not likely to have clear skies during the day, or not too likely, it is a fun thing to do, and it just reminded me. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Shauna, you had a question?
Yes, it's for Chris or anyone. I don't really understand how you do those courses that you and Kirsten do.
Okay, well, I can talk about them. There are, the lists are on the national website, so rasc.ca, and they generally come with a multi-page PDF that you can download. And depending which one you do, it will give you a list of targets. So for example, the double star, as I recall, is 110 items that you need to find in the sky. Is that right? Did I get there? Yeah, Kirsten says I got that right. And so it tells you what constellation they're in And so if you figure out with a star atlas or an app, you can figure out what time of the year you can try and find this. And then you need to look at the atlas and see where it is and see if you can find it, because you're not supposed to use GoTo, if I'm correct. Is that correct, Kirsten?
They've changed it, Chris.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Just for what it's worth. I think in recognition of the growing prevalence of go-to technology now, what RASC Canada has done is they have provided an option for observers to find the targets with either go-to or the more traditional method, which is just visual star hopping using either a physical or a digital atlas. But you can use either. But what they do is they expect you to be honest about it. And what they will do is if you use go-to technology to say complete the Messier program or the Double Star program or any of their other programs, because there's a number of others, just tell them. And then what they would do is they would issue the certificate just with the notation that you did it with computerized aid. If you elect to go the more traditional route of star hopping, they just omit that. It's not, that statement is not on the certificate. Yeah.
Thanks. So basically, so what you do is you find one of these objects, and then either in a logbook or some of the observing programs come with a logbook, you sketch out what you've seen and make notes about it, date, time, etc. So does that help? So
Yes.
basically, yeah, look for these things on the, they're called observing programs, and they're in one of the submenus on the rasc.ca website.
So it's self-directed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have a buddy to do it with, that helps a lot too, because you can, my wife and I did the Explore the Moon together. That was really neat, so.
Great, thank you.
Janik, did you see that Brian Barber has put the link in the chat?
Oh, thanks, Brian.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just mention that the Explore the Universe is another program, and there's a companion book with it. And I have 10 of those books, and I can bring them to the meeting on Wednesday night, and they sell for $12 each. And the RASC Victoria Center is making 8 cents each to say it.
Wow.
Hey.
Oh, and for your family and friends, anybody can do Explore the Universe, by the way. So you don't have to be a member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada to be recognized for doing that. But otherwise you do.
And you get a pin, not just a certificate.
You get a certificate and a pin, yeah, for those.
Better deal.
Yeah, yeah.
And Shanik, there are, with the Explore the Moon, you can do it with, there's a Explore the Moon with telescope and Explore the Moon with binoculars. I did mine with binoculars. And there's an Explore the Universe with telescope and Explore the Moon, Explore the Universe with binoculars. And again, I did mine with binoculars.
Well, that's good.
They're separate books. They're different workbooks. Yeah,
Right.
and it's all laid out really, really clearly.
And most of, as I recall, most of the Explore the Universe is achievable with binoculars too, isn't it? As I recall,
Because-
there's enough targets there that there are a set of targets in each category, and you have to have seen about half of them, as I recall.
Yes.
That's right, just over 50%. I found that with the double star section of the Explore the Universe program, there were definitely targets you could see with binoculars, but some of it with the deep sky objects and the double stars, that's where even just a very small telescope or even one on loan can be very helpful just to track down some of those harder ones.
And it includes things, yeah, just to wrap up, like things like some phases of the moon. So you've got to see, which, and then some things on, some features of the moon. So it gets you a bit of a start in the Explore the Moon. even.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, I might start there because after our December meeting, I got the big book.
Whoa.
You're more than ready. That's probably helped you do there's a higher level moon called the Isabel Williamson, which Randy's done. I don't know if anybody else here has, but I don't think so.
No, just
I think has Jill done it?
Yeah, Jill's working on it if she hasn't finished it. I know she
might
might have
be
finished.
really close.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nelson was the
moon guru.
the one before me.
Yeah.
Who got it.
That one's more challenging because it's a lot of the things are much more obscure, right? It's small.
Well, and there's a lot more to it. It took
Yeah.
me over 2 years.
Yeah. That one is an investment in time.
But really fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for that input. Randy, you're next.
Well, let's go. Just have to pull up my PowerPoint. And also we have to share the screen.
Oh, you wiped out Margaret's visage.
So some of you may know that I was in Italy on Saturday. I had 3 weeks with my 3 grown kids and a spouse and a grandchild, and we had a very jolly time. And this is just the first of at least 2 presentations. I'm going to talk particularly about observations along the meridian line in a major church in Rome. But that's for another day when I actually get some time to put it together. But this is just some pictures I took of the moon during my trip. I wish I could tell you what this church was. It was very close to where we were staying. And for what it's worth, that shape with all the spikes at the top is a stellated icosahedron.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Anyway, I was very pleased to be able to get a shot like that. Anyway, so my first night there was full moon. That was what, but December 16. And this fellow on the Sisto Bridge had this sign here that says in Italian, "The moon as you've never seen it." And he had this 12-inch Schmidt Cassegrain set up, and people just came up. It didn't charge. He just had people look at the full moon, and it was quite charming and quite popular. There was a good lineup of people wanting to see it, and I just really enjoyed that. He had a great crowd there that night. Anyway, what were they looking at? They were looking at this full moon, and I went. This was my first night, and despite jet lag, I did kind of a 3-hour walk. When Eva and our friends went home after dinner, I just kept going. So these are various sculptures on the bridges over the Tiber.
It's mean.
Very conveniently with the moon in the background.
It's amazing how you get a moon pictures right now.
And this is the Piazza Navona and the Colosseum. So that was on my first night. Rome is particularly walkable. You can get everywhere.
You covered a lot of ground.
I covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, those things don't. Exactly.
There's Marcus Aurelius on the Capitoline Hill. Anyway, this was a morning shot a few days later. That was a full moon. This is now waning gibbous. So this is in the big, what do you call it? The plaza in front of the Vatican, the Piazza San Pietro. And that's also, that's the dome of San Pietro.
Beautiful.
Anyway, this was nice and early in the morning, just after sunrise, so I'm in golden hour. What's going to happen now? Let's keep looking. There we go. So I also went and saw lots of galleries and things, and of course there's pictures of the moon. This is a Bruegel of the creation of the animals, and if you look closely, you can see there's a unicorn there and some other animals that we don't see now, but they were all created in the, what was that, the fifth day, I think. Anyway, the moon is shining over all that. This was in the Vatican Museum. The last one was in the Doria Pamphili Palace. This was just some coffee place where we had coffee.
But there's phases of the moon there. There. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
Is there some significance to the circumference?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think this is just for pretty.
Some of those are eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like. We'd have to look it up. Sure, someone's.
So this was in a wine bar. Saw a nice moon and a case with moons. And this was a what do you call it? Panna cotte? You know, one of those bread.
The bread, panettone.
Panettone, thank you.
Yes, the bread, yeah.
From the 5 Moon bakery. This was a beautiful Etruscan necklace or front plate or something. So this is pre-Roman. This was in a mosaic in the ceiling of a church. If I calm my brain, I might remember which one, but this is Joshua, who stopped the sun and the moon from going around, and that scared everybody. Of course, if that really happened, we'd be in real trouble. But it makes a good story and a very nice mosaic. There is some story about there being an eclipse during Jesus's crucifixion, but the timing doesn't work right. So that's probably metaphorical. But this is not even an eclipse there, or maybe it's just before the eclipse. I don't know. There are lots of moons. It's a good symbol. You may be surprised to hear. This is from the Palazzo Colonna. The Colonna family uses the column as their symbol, but also one of the important early people in the family was instrumental in kicking the Moors out of Italy. And so they always show pictures with the Moorish moon on it. So this is a ceiling, and here is a banner, and they always have these moons on them. Okay, keep moving. Come on, you can do it. So then after a week in Rome, you can see we're down now at the last quarter, so it's a few days later, and we went to this small city, I guess. Anyway, 6,000 people called Gaeta, and I got some nice pictures from around there. I did a lot of sunrises, but this is about moons, so I'm not going to show you those pictures. Maybe another time. Anyway, this is a great picture from across the bay from Gaeta. So there's this big mountain there. I was up on a hill overlooking the bay to watch sunrise, which is going to happen in about probably 20 minutes from when I took this picture. There's the moon up there. Anyway, Gaeta is this medieval town, and our place was right around where my mouse is right now, looking over the bay, and it was really fun, especially on New Year's Eve, where the whole town went crazy with fireworks. Apparently, fireworks are illegal in Italy.
Or much used.
And a couple of days after New Year's Eve, we were talking to our landlord, and he said, "Yeah, it's totally illegal, but this is Italy."
Yeah.
Anyway, there's crazy amount of fireworks, and we had this beautiful view over the city, and it was spectacular. But I enjoyed those fireworks of just a nice moon over these really clear skies. This was totally typical weather for my 3 weeks away.
Wow, nice.
And I'm going to close not with over Italy. This was actually over Ireland or so in the airplane on Saturday, when Saturn was very close to the moon in North America. It actually was occulted. I think it even, you could see it in eastern North America, but unfortunately it was cloudy at Heathrow when the occultation started, so I didn't see it on one side, but I did see it coming up later on. I'm sorry, this is just a cell phone picture, so that's Saturn there. This is Venus down here, and if your name is Thierry Legault, then you take pictures like this.
Yes.
So this picture was taken about the same time that I took my picture.
And he went to Spain for that picture because he says it's going to be 2031 or something like that before he's going to get another chance. So there's quite a gap there.
Yeah, there's a long time before another occultation.
Yeah.
Picture place, yeah.
He's an occultation guy. If you haven't, if you don't,
Doesn't matter.
look him up.
Yeah.
So somebody left Saturn on the surface of the moon.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he took a better picture than I did through the window of the airplane with my cell phone.
You did well.
But it was a very good trip, and I did get to see lots of sunrises and sunsets. And in particular, I got to crawl around the floor during the transit of the sun at noon in Santa Maria degli Angeli de Martiri. Anyway, I crawled around on the floor with a guy who's been studying it for 25 years, and I've read a couple of his papers, and he just happened to be making measurements when I was there. And so I crawled on the floor with this guy in this basilica. But that's for another day.
I move
Thank you,
that
Randy.
RASC award Randy a special certificate for terrestrial lunar observation.
There you go.
Yeah.
New category.
New category.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, did you go to the Sistine Chapel?
We did indeed. Oh, yes, but no photographs.
Yes, so
I
did
did
you,
not get a picture of God creating the sun and the moon on the fourth day.
okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Does it have it there?
Oh,
I-
yes.
Okay.
And I did look at it. So you'll just have to take my word for it.
Are you allowed to sketch it?
You know what? You're not, because it's crowded as all get out, and you're only allowed something like 10 minutes in there. So yeah, if I did a really quick job, but
So you buy a postcard.
it's not the highlight of the trip.
No.
It wasn't high season. There were no big crowds except in the Sistine Chapel.
Wow.
It was the only place that I really felt there's too many people here.
You and 5,000 others all shuffled along at a very slow pace. Been there, done that.
Thank you, Randy. It's very interesting that when you have a theme and you keep your eyes open for that theme, it just appears everywhere.
Well, that's one of the reasons I like the moon is every culture in every age has taken it as a symbol.
Hmm.
And so it's one of those things that, yeah, once your eyes are open to it. Well, I'm 10 years into Enkin's Daily Moon, and I haven't repeated.
Thank you. That was great. Okay, I have a couple of things to share with you. Going to do this. Okay. Minimize, share screen, button, button, button. Click on desktop one. I still follow my own written instructions. Share. Okay, no, that's my screen.
Screen.
All right. Can you see today's puzzle?
Yes.
All right. All right. I came across this today. Totally. Well, it was a reference in the APOD, the astronomy picture of the day. So I thought I'll just show it to you, and you can tell me afterwards if anybody has tried these. So the 96%, the percentage below each photograph, and there are quite a few different photographs, is the puzzle ability of the photograph. So what you do is this puzzle works well for 76% of the people who tried it. This puzzle works well for 96% of the people who tried it. So here's what you do. You click on the puzzle, and then you can select a level of difficulty. I'm going to show you what some of the levels of difficulty are. And but after I even looked at a few of them, I went, yikes. Okay, that's easy. Would you like to put that puzzle back together? Okay. Okay, so let's take this one. That's 82% of the people who did it found it very doable. All right, so there's the puzzle. And here's the easy version. It's going to give you the puzzle photo first, and then it's going to break it up. And then you would have to put it back together again.
We want to see you do that, Margie.
Yeah.
Maybe the easy one.
So if you are interested and you see these move around, you can
Right.
move them around.
That'd be
So
hard.
maybe I haven't tried them yet, so I don't know whether, like, these are edges. So I don't know whether any of them are upside. They kind of look as if they're all right side up.
Yeah, that makes it easier.
I would say the top right is probably the one that goes beside that first corner you put there, I think.
Oh, look. Ha, ha, ha. I just did a puzzle piece. Yeah. So in case you're a puzzler and you don't know about that,
Very nice.
there it is. So just out of interest, here's 82%. So that you just saw the easy one. Here's the very hard one.
1,000 pieces.
I guess there isn't a very hard one. Let's see if there's a hard one. Nope. Let's see if there's a medium one. Oh, it's, oh,
There
I'll go
you
back again.
are. Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Those are a lot smaller.
Try very hard. Yeah. Okay, it's not breaking up into pieces, but you can see there it is. That's the very hard version.
Yeah. Piece of cake.
Yeah, piece of cake. That's where the vocabulary yikes comes in for me.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to show you one more thing, I think. Oh, just a minute. I move this over. All right, astronomy picture of the day. Oh, that was the astronomy picture of the day. Okay. Bye-bye. That's all you get. No more. All right, stop share. There we go. There's your challenge for today. David Lee, do you have something to share?
Yes, I do, and Happy New Year to everybody. So tomorrow, we have our first beginner SIG for the year, and I'll be talking a little bit about atlases, a little bit about some of the resources, and for anybody who's brand new, a little bit about a glossary of terminology and stuff. So if you're a new member, Rob, I guess you're new. If you want to attend, let me know. Get Chris Gainor, not Chris Gainor, get Chris Purse to add you to the beginners SIG list. And if I just know your email address, I'll just send you what I've already sent out to people.
Thank you.
I think that's just about it. There's a number of things happening this week, by the way. I know Bill said there were some Jupiter kind of events happening tonight. There's a couple of I think there's a couple of conjunctions actually. There's one with the Pleiades on Thursday, and then later in the month there's going to be a Venus and Saturn encounter. But more on that at a future date. Yep, that's it for me, unless there's some questions.
The Pleiades thing is an occultation, so that's a bit different.
Oh, okay. It's even better than just a conjunction.
On Thursday.
Yeah, that's an interesting imaging challenge. It's kind of difficult to do if you've ever tried to do it. So I request that people try. Let's see what you come up with.
There's Comet 2024 G3 Atlas, which apparently is surprisingly bright. You know, it's got a negative magnitude in the early morning, and I think it's supposed to peak on the 12th. If they give us a clear sky.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Oh, you can't see here?
I mean, everybody should be prepared, but there's obviously no guarantees at this time of year.
Yes, there is. We're guaranteed not to see it.
Well, yeah, I guess. If that's your objective.
No, whether apparently it's not visible from Victoria.
Yeah, that's all I've got for tonight.
Okay. Thank you very much, David. Lauri, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Well, I had thought that I had a couple of pictures from Mexico, except that I realized that they're on my phone and not on my computer. So I'm going to have to do them. Maybe next week I'll get them transferred over. I had a great time in Mexico. If anybody has got a plane ticket that they don't want to use to go back down to Mexico, I'll just take it instantly. I'm ready to go back. It was nice and warm, a little bit of rain, but then it cleared up and it was really nice. But the first night I was there, which was the 24th of December, when I walked out on my balcony, there was Orion, like just lying down. So we're used to having it kind of, sitting straight up, and it was literally just like this, just lying down right in front of me. And it took me a little bit to, when you see something a little bit different that you're not used to seeing, it really kind of takes a little bit to get yourself used to what it was. But it was just beautiful because it was still fairly light. It was only about 7:30 at night, so it wasn't completely dark. And Orion was there, and the Pleiades were there, and Taurus was there, and Jupiter was there, and it was just like, it was absolutely astounding, and it was lovely. But then a great big huge storm came through, and I lost it after that. But then we moved on to Holbox, which is north of Cancun, about 2 hours north, right up on it's an island that's right up on the very, very top of the Cancun Peninsula, or the Mayan Peninsula there, and never even heard of it before we got there. And when I looked out my window at nighttime, at about 3 o'clock in the morning, there again was Orion sitting there. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to lie in bed and watch and just see Orion up there. It was just absolutely fantastic. So I had quite a nice time, and I was quite pleased that I was able to show people show people that I was with, a group of people that I was with. Some like Venus was beautiful and Jupiter was beautiful, and there was some other, some other things. And then early in the morning, I was able to see as a centaur, like a Centaurus, and like down like really low, because we can't see that. We can't see that from where we are. And it was magnificent to be able to see that. But the silly thing was that I didn't take binoculars with me. And I realized as soon as I got there that first night and I didn't have binoculars, I just was going, what did I ever do to not take binoculars with me? Because it would have been just great. So the next time I go, I will definitely take binoculars with me, but I'll take a couple of pictures next time. So thanks, everybody. Oops, didn't mean to do that.
Thank you, Lauri. Chris Gainor, do you have anything that you would like to share with us?
Yes.
Hey.
Actually, I don't have a huge amount of things to say about space activities, although the Parker Solar Probe did make a successful closest ever flyby of the sun on Christmas Eve. And I might have something more to say about it in a couple of nights. But I think the main thing I want to mention right now is that it's the new year, and we have a whole bunch of activities coming up. And Kirsten has already mentioned our monthly meeting, and next month is going to be a little different because it's we don't have a monthly meeting, but we have our annual general meeting on the 10th of February, and which will be on Zoom. And then 2 weeks after that, we're going to have our annual banquet, and at the 4 Mile Pub, and that was we had the first one out there actually in decades, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to this one. So I'm just giving you a heads up, and probably soon we'll be getting people to reserve tickets and things like that for the banquet. And to prepare for all those events, we will have a council meeting. So anybody who's on council should remember that we'll be meeting on the 21st of January. And yes, so we have these activities, and I think there'll be some astronomy. I think I heard somewhere that there's supposed to be a lunar occultation of Mars, next week perhaps. Although I think it will be in progress when the moon rises rather late in the night, around 3 or 4 in the morning. So
I don't think that one is readily visible, Chris, but it's worth checking. There is a fair number of kind of conjunctions of planets this month, and also, by the way, if any kind of clear dusk situation or sunset, we'll at most times see I think 5 planets actually.
Yeah. So anyway, that's mainly what I have to report. We're just kind of picking up our regular activities after Christmas, and so I'm looking forward to seeing everybody at these things.
Thank you, Chris. I did find the other item that I wanted to share with you. So here goes. And then I'm going to tell you about it first. I'll show it to you and then tell you about it, show it to you, and then probably show it to you again. It's very short. Okay, share. Step one, share. Okay. No, oh, there we go. Okay. You may or may not have seen this, which is the astronomy picture of the day from January the 5th. And it's a rocket launch as seen from the space station. All right, so you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So what it was, it's a time-lapse video, and it's the Russian rocket that was launched in November 2018. So we're talking about a little while ago, but it's the view from the space station that is really neat. So this Russian rocket was launched in Kazakhstan. And first you will see on the left city lights and clouds. They'll be in the lower left. Then you will see blue and gold bands of atmospheric glow, and then distant stars in the upper right. And oh, you will also see there are arrows pointing to the rocket in this video. And then the lower stage of the rocket can be seen falling back to Earth. So this rocket is on its way to the International Space Station with supplies. All right, so here we go. It's the rocket. Oh, there it is.
Margie, would you mind posting the link to that so that we can see it maybe more steadily on our own machines?
I'll post the link to the APOD page.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
I heard, would you mind, but I don't know what somebody said.
I asked to see if the link to that could be posted, like in chat or
Oh,
something like that.
certainly. I will do that.
Right, thank you.
All right. Is there anybody else who has anything to share?
Margie, can I just say something about the Parker Solar Probe? I did a calculation on the back of an envelope, and it came within 3.8 million miles of the sun. So I calculated that out, and the angular diameter of the sun at the Parker's vantage point was 12 degrees.
Yoy.
That compares to our angle. When we look at the sun, we see a half of the sun takes up a half a degree. So it's 24 times larger at the Parker Solar Probe than it is on Earth. So that's kind of interesting.
Margie, I'd like
Yes.
to put our guest Brian on the spot.
Hello.
You're in the Vancouver Center.
Yes,
What activities does the Vancouver Center do?
we have a monthly meeting.
And what do you do at the monthly meeting?
Not too different than this, except we usually have a lecturer. And that's mostly the event. Socializing before and afterwards.
How many people come?
Quite a few, actually. Couple dozen. Thereabouts. We mostly fill one of the lecture classrooms at SFU Burnaby.
And do you have an observatory or do you have
Yeah.
observing sessions?
The observatory, there is an observatory on SFU Burnaby's campus. And on clear nights after the monthly meeting, we go over there and we get to look through the observatory telescope if we wish. And it used to be every clear Friday night, so not anytime recently. We could go and the telescope there would be open. That was a joint effort by both the campus and us, RASC Vancouver. I think they curbed that back to 3 Fridays a week. But the nice thing there was they have a nice science plaza right outside of the observatory, which is really something to see as it's all glowing at night. We can bring our telescopes, and it's basically a star party outside of the observatory as people are lined up to go into the observatory. And the ones that I've been to have been really popular. When you get in line, you could wait half an hour just to get into the big telescope to see whatever they happen to be looking at the moment. But the people like bounce around to all the telescopes we have set up out there and all the various things we decided to see. So that is a lot of fun.
Cool. Do you serve cookies at your monthly meeting?
No.
Maybe you should start.
I will let the president know. We can, I'll take a picture of the puffs here and see if we can carry the interesting tradition onto another site.
Go for it.
Yeah, that's all our normal activities as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
And do you have a star party?
That would be the clear Friday nights.
Okay. Not a camping dark sky.
You know, they're trying to just do one starting this year, and I believe it's in August. And I don't know if they've moved that because they accidentally planted right on top of RASC Sunshine Coast's Star Party, both of which are, which is this year will only be its second one. But it'd be nice to have them on different weekends so that we can go to both instead of having to choose.
Yeah.
Because star parties are so much fun.
We probably all picked the same weekend because of the new moon.
Mhm. Exactly.
Thank you. Natasha, you have a question.
Yes, actually, I've been following the Parker Solar Probe thing with a lot of interest, I guess, because that guide to the solar wind that I put together had a section on Eugene Parker and the probe. But what I found interesting, the media, of course, was talking about the distance. I think they were quoting it in miles, 3.8 million miles that got to the sun. So, but if you were to imagine the Earth and the sun being a meter apart, then Parker Solar Probe got to within 4 centimeters of the sun.
That's a great comparison. Thank you, Natasha. Lauri.
I think Shanae had her hand up first.
Oh, okay. Sorry, didn't see you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's Shaunik. I'm
Shaunik, sorry, Shaunik.
No, I'm forever forgiving. It's there's only 3 of us in the world, so.
You're unique.
Yeah, I did just because there seems to be a bit of time, want to say that I did follow up with some of the readings. As I said, the lunar book, also Chris Gainor's book he recommended on Mars, I've been reading. But I wanted to point out, I haven't yet read it, but I'm more than willing to share it when I do. But I don't know if any of you heard on CBC Quarks a few weeks ago of the best books of the year. This one, I don't know if you can see, but it's called Life as No One Knows It. And it's a book by Sarah Mari Walker on how they detect life on other planets. And it's very interesting, I thought, because I followed a bit of this issue of the emergence of life that I'm very interested in, like on Earth. But apparently now, the question is, how do you discern chemical reactions from reactions that would be indicative of life, which is really interesting. And they have created standards for it of kind of apparently 15 beyond 15 steps of reactions to indicate life is present. So they're doing this remotely, right, through observation. So I'm going to read it. It's called Life as No One Knows It, The Physics of Life's Emergence. But I think it's very interesting to our group, right? This question of what we observe out there and how we might actually detect if there are other intelligent life forms in the universe.
Thank you.
I think that sounds really good. I was going to ask sorry, I didn't get the name of the gentleman from Vancouver.
Oh, I go by the name Puppy. It's just easier.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I was wondering whether or not there was still the Mercury, the flat Mercury telescope still around.
It was in Fraser Valley, I think.
I'm not aware of it, so I can't say either yay or nay, but I've not heard of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where that was. We saw it at the Vancouver AGM a number of years ago, right?
We visited, but it took a while. Like it was in the Fraser Valley.
Yeah, it was spun at a high speed to reach a certain parabola, right?
It's UBCs, isn't it?
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was up in Maple Ridge, and I think the Vancouver Center actually had an observatory nearby, sort of in the same state.
At Loon Lake, as UBC has a retreat and forestry center at Loon Lake. Is it there? In Maple Ridge. Yeah.
Okay, I just wasn't sure whether or not it was still there or still working. So
I will
that's what I was wondering.
That sounds really interesting. Thank you.
I think it's been
okay.
Worth looking into.
Yes.
All right. Is there anyone else who has Brian?
Well, you can go ahead, Gary.
Right.
Oh, okay. I'll go next. So I thought that was a very good article you brought us, Margie, which reminded me of something I saw today, as a matter of fact, on fast gamma ray bursts. This is something relatively new that's happening, but the reason I was particularly interested in it is because it's being done at the Radio Observatory up in Penticton, BC. They're a leading group in doing this kind of stuff. I used to work there part-time. And what's amazing is they're actually getting these fast gamma ray bursts, about 3 or 4 a day, that last typically anywhere from a millisecond to a few seconds, a couple of them a day, with an amazingly weird antenna. If you took a giant tube about 10 feet in diameter and put chicken wire halfway around and made about 5 of these things about 50 feet long, this is their antenna. And it's amazing what they're getting with this a bunch of wire. I'm just stunned by it. So these things are so powerful. They're the most powerful things in the universe, typically 1 billion trillion times more brighter than our sun. So, and they're all doing it with a bunch of chicken wire up in the Penticton, BC. I find that amazing. Yeah, just look it up. It's called CHIME, CHIME.
Thank you, Gary. All right. Is there another hand?
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah. Just going to throw this out there because there's probably a few people in the room or online that know something about this. But my brother's been bringing this to my attention, and I just wanted to see if there's any credibility to these reports or information that's being shared by Dr. Stephen Greer about, the contact with and aliens and covering it all up, and there's something, maybe some connections with these drone flights that are being
Of course.
offshore, and as a way of kind of generating some fear. Hey, we got to protect ourselves against the aliens. But he's got his Disclosure Project website up there, and I'm just wondering if there's others in the room that have been following this, because according to Greer's recent interviews, there's going to be some significant disclosure this month from a very senior, high-ranking military official is going to blow the lid off this, perhaps with the Trump administration's protection. I know, that's my reaction, like, wow, oh my goodness. But when you listen to some of the things that, and he's got the full, website with all the documentation and quite a few, again, senior people with affidavits, etc. Anyway, it's all news.
Brian, can I ask, like, who is Dr. Stephen Greer? Like, what is his credential, or where is he?
He's a medical doctor, and he started like going down this rabbit hole about 30 years, but he's become the kind of preeminent, advocate for this and bringing people together. And he's actually, his life has been, he's been, there's been some attempts on his life. There's people in the group that he's been working with, according to him, been off, and there's a high risk of anyone coming forward with information, the same thing. Anyway, it's a pretty fascinating theory, and he's got lots of evidence. I'll put the link to his website in the chat at the risk of maybe some FBI agents looking at this video and coming after me. But
pause the recording, Joe.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, he's out there on all this other social media and other alternate sources. But anyway, has anyone heard about it?
I haven't. I just looked it up. He's billed as an American ufologist, and he's a retired physician.
Yeah,
maybe a hobby.
Doing it for 30, but he's got, as I say, it's not just him. He's got quite a few people.
Yeah.
Working, and there's all the documents that they've now posted in the event that he is, comes to some untimely end. So all this information is publicly available.
Interesting.
But why would he come to some untimely end? Sorry, I'm really against or critical of conspiracy theories. And if this is intelligent life trying to contact us, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing, eh? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No,
I'm not sure who would, even the US government, like, why would they be motivated to kill him? I'm just asking,
Oh, Biden's fault.
Like if anyone's got any secret information, or it's not uncommon for people to have take a drug overdose. But apparently this has all been happening off the books since the Second World War. And according to one of these theories, is that there was this contact was made following the detonation of the first nuclear weapons, as it had, that was sending some signals. And anyway, there's this alien, they've captured UFOs, they've got the alien technology for anti-gravity and time-space travel and all that kind of figured out, but keeping it under wraps. But all of this is all behind the scenes, and they've even got a few aliens' bodies that they've recovered from this wreckage. So anyway, it's
wow.
It's
well,
pretty neat.
All I can say, Brian, is if it's true, if this big disclosure and all this happens, I'm really looking forward to the whole revelation of the faster than light technology that would be required, and then we can all fly around the universe faster than light.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
I'm in.
It's 2 points in space. You say it's like this. You just bringing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Trump might get assassinated first, and then he will no longer be able to protect the people disclosing things.
Exactly.
Anyway, just throwing it out there.
Well, it is a true thing, isn't it? You know, I mean, the American military has tracked claims of UFOs, so
Yeah,
it's
they've
just
acknowledged there's unidentified objects. And
yeah.
you've heard about the Area 51 and other things. And
We of course are creating an alien life on Earth, right? That the recent winner of the Nobel Prize has said we're in considerable danger of being replaced by. So I don't know if we have to wait for them to come from another planet when we're generating the aliens in our midst. But anyway, interesting.
Perhaps it is we who are the aliens.
yeah, it's our future selves coming back to save us.
Vaders.
Or the aliens to life on Earth, unfortunately. I don't know if that's what you meant, Margie, but what did you mean?
Just the concept that you know there's something else out there looking at us and thinking, those people are the aliens. They're coming for us.
They're weird.
Yeah.
Yes, very.
Delicious. There we go.
Oh dear, what a thought.
All right.
Good one.
We're kind of like chimps, though.
Yeah.
I think it couldn't be anything than fabulous to find any kind of life in any other place in the universe, because it would be just fascinating to learn.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
They must be there, right? Surely they must be there.
There are only billions of galaxies, so.
Yeah.
Trillions.
They're all slime mold.
Oh, trillions, sorry.
I don't know, in this day and age, they'll all be designated illegal aliens, so.
There we go.
We'll have to build a space wall. When you go, I used to work for the
Build a
American
space wall.
I used to do some work for the American military. When you went into one of their bases, there was a sign, aliens in this direction.
That's their term for non-residents. Right?
That is correct.
Different meaning.
I was gonna stick on some antennas one day, but you know that probably wouldn't have gone well.
They don't have a sense of humor.
No, zero. But speaking of artificial intelligence, have you all read about the Google quantum computer thing that happened recently? Yes, no, maybe so.
No.
No, Google really had this fancy quantum computer going, which they shut down intentionally. And this was from a documentary by a very famous astrophysicist. So it's without question something interesting. And he actually went to have a look at this Google computer functioning, and it started doing things that it wasn't being asked to do. Nobody's heard about this.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah, I have. Yes,
Oh, you have, okay.
Yep.
So this scientist was just blown away by the fact that this machine was exhibiting this behavior.
Mhm.
And then that raised the whole thing about, is this thing conscious or not? And if it's conscious, what does that mean? So Google has actually shut the whole thing down, not shut it down, but put it completely under wraps for now.
Mhm.
And it's very fascinating just to think of what this could mean about these quantum computers. Like, it's quite surprising to me.
Mm.
Quite
I think even the way we see AI today, I mean, I have to admit I do use it. I mean, but you know, you always have to do kind of I don't know, like ground truthing on all these things.
Yeah.
I was recently repairing a laptop and I asked it what kind of battery I needed for this specific laptop. And it's obvious that it had gone to the internet and found all these third-party people that were actually, I wouldn't say clones, but they were providing things that would be technically possible to put in the laptop, but not designed for it. Like, for instance, I needed a backup battery for the real-time clock in the laptop. And it suggested a 2032. I think it's a very common battery, but it's actually too big to fit inside of the case. So I think people are meant to jury rig something to make it fit. but I wanted the real part, and it told me that it was the right battery. So it's wrong. I know it's wrong.
Did it say I wouldn't do that, Dave?
No, it did. It didn't. It didn't. It suggested that I might be wrong, though. You could be mistaken.
Good one. I wouldn't do that, Dave. Well
Even though I had the manual, I had the online manual for the laptop, so I knew which one it was. So there you go.
One thing to remember is if we're looking for new life forms, we don't have to look in the sky for them. We know less than 10% of the life forms that live at the bottom of our own ocean.
Yeah.
How about fungi?
That's
We don't know very much. I mean, the forest is full of unknown species.
Yeah.
Right here. But we don't know they're there, so.
Well, we should send a rocket ship to investigate that.
Does anyone else have something fascinating to say?
Margie, Reg here, just to follow up on Gary's talk about fast radio burst and the charm antenna. I wrote an article on that in the February 2017 Victoria Centre Sky News, which is actually on our victoria.rasc.ca website that if people could ever get it. And the primary purpose of this telescope, which looked like four half pipes, snowboarding half pipes set together, was to try and measure the expansion history of the universe. And as a sideline, they wanted to, it would be able to detect the fast radio bursts. Well, the fast radio bursts have been such a success, they've got more funding to put similar telescopes elsewhere. So you never know what's going to come out of these things.
Yeah.
What are they? I haven't read the article. Either of you, Gary, or I don't know who was talking in the Reg. But what are they imputing in these bursts of gamma rays, or are they?
They're just the brightest things ever seen, like a billion trillion times the brightness of the sun. So they're just trying to figure out what they are. And they just recently figured out that a lot of them, some of the fast gamma ray bursts are coming from neutron stars that there's some process where I thought about 10,000 kilometers above the surface of the neutron stars, all of a sudden something really dramatic happens. And a massive amount of neutrinos get spewed out to take away some energy for some reason. I don't know why. But it's just really, really kind of a violent thing. It's the most violent thing in our universe is what they're saying. So they just want to try to find out more about them.
So neutron stars would are linked to black holes too, aren't they?
No, a neutron, well, someone better than I can explain, but neutron stars are kind of what's left over when a star is done.
Yeah.
And it doesn't explode into a supernova and it doesnn't collapse into a black hole. It's a very, very, very dense star that's rotating really, really quickly because all the angular momentum of the big star had to go into the small star that's about 20 miles across. So they're really interesting things. Some neutron stars that are huge go 1,000 times a second spinning. It's what's out there is just simply amazing.
But it's not visible. It's gamma rays means it's not visible in the
That's
video.
right. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, Natasha, you just put in a link on chat, and could you just
it's just a very short video from NASA about gamma ray bursts.
Thank you. All right. So
Margie, I'm just thinking, I mean the DRAO is part of the NRC and the Hertzberg Institute. I mean, if we're interested, I'm absolutely sure we could get somebody that would be able to talk to us a little bit about that sometime, for sure. Yeah.
Great.
Good idea.
Gary, do you know a person who might be somebody who could who would be good to have?
No, it's been like 10 years or so, 15 years since I was there.
Okay.
So everybody's moved on, but we have good connections at DAO because they're
Yeah,
under
I
the
mean,
same umbrella. They're under the very same umbrella.
yeah. So James DeFrancesco would, I mean, like that's
He'd be the
he's
man, and that way he could twist a few arms for us to get someone to give us a talk.
yeah, yeah.
I can certainly request the topic specifically.
Yes,
And if
yeah.
you know, for one of our monthly meetings next season,
That'd be great.
and maybe they can give us some information about the radio you called it Chime,
Yep.
Gary, I believe. Yeah.
Yep, Chime.
And sort of the Chime initiative in the interior, and you know, we can hear more about the chicken wire antennas you were describing,
Don't
hopefully.
tell James I said that. Don't tell James I said
No.
that. But that's what it looks like,
It's
seriously.
not chicken wire, that's all.
It's not chicken.
I know, I was just being facetious, but it's not a fancy looking machine at all. It's just a bunch of wire hanging on these half
It's probably very expensive chicken wire.
Those sensors on the top of those tubes is the magic.
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty cool with what they can do.
Data reduction game machines.
And I guess a BC Canada contribution to that whole area of research. That would be really interesting to hear about.
Yeah.
Yep.
They people come from Penticton like to have meetings and everything at the NRC. So maybe we can, you know, nab a person that in person if they're around sometime. Yeah. That would be
They
good.
also do lots of other cool stuff up there too. So they could give us an overview, for example, of what DRA does, because it's kind of like the second cousin or the poor cousin. You don't ever hear about it, but they do some really, really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And they run tours.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And you cannot bring your cell phone.
Well, you
Yeah, that's right.
The tour director at the Radio Observatory is Wendell Schuster, and he gave us a talk up at UBC, I mean at UVic before the COVID shutdown.
That's right.
But the person is a project lead, one of the project leads on the Chime system. His name is Gary Hinshaw, and he is a PhD professor at UBC. And he recently won a fairly prestigious award for
Yeah. Yeah.
And another source of
looking
the
into.
talk, another source, am I on here? Another source of the talk, John McDonald is related to a young man who worked on the gravity measuring machine. What's it called? LIGO or something like that?
He's moved on. He has a new career.
Yeah, in the stock market, apparently doing analysis of something, you know, psi.
Oh,
But
no.
that would be a really interesting talk too. You know, these guys could probably do it by Zoom, I suspect, Kirsten. I don't know.
Some of it they can't talk about.
Yeah.
Classified.
All right. Does anyone else have anything to share?
I'll just add that with a lot of Joe's help, I'm putting together a website. So my photographs will refer to a website. So hopefully I'll have it up in the next few weeks. But I'm putting a series together as to why spiral galaxies look the way they do. So look forward to that. Just a matter of putting it all together. So just a heads up on that. So when I post my next image, you'll have a reference to that.
Thank you. That'll be great. All right. It's
Well, I was just going to say quickly about future topics. And I was briefly in touch with Randy about this, but I'd asked about the Vera Rubin Observatory coming on stream soon. And Randy assures me that he's got at least 2 possible talks on that subject.
Okay.
I think
All right.
Randy must be waning because it's probably what, 4 o'clock in the morning or
I'm definitely waning.
Actually, I have a quick question. Did anybody receive any interesting books for Christmas?
Astronomy books, I assume?
Yes.
Yes, I did, and I read it, and I have already given it away to somebody else it's called Orbital.
Orbital.
Oh yeah.
Really good.
Was the winner of the 2024 Booker Prize.
Mhm.
And
Do you
so,
recommend?
I'm sorry?
Do you recommend? I have it on my shelf.
I do. It's it's a lot of things, a lot of information we know, and it's quite dense. But it's a quick read. I read it in about 3 days, so I can understand why it received the 2024 Booker Prize. It's intense and condensed.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Must
Fiction.
be for the Booker. The
It's
Booker.
fiction,
Oh,
Booker Prize goes to novels.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fiction.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yes, I've read it too. It's there's a set of characters on board the space station, and it's kind of exploring your
right.
inner thoughts, which are not
That's
necessarily what you might think or
yeah,
expect,
Mm.
but
yeah.
Mm.
it's an interesting read.
Mhm.
Sonic, could you tell us a little bit more about the lunar book? It looked very massive.
It is. I forget who brought it to us. Do you remember? Because I know
I
there's.
did, and I actually have that book.
Oh, okay.
I had no idea it was so big, by the way. I thought the moon would be a good, object to start focusing on. And then this huge book arrived.
Oh my
But
God, it's huge.
you know who it's by? You must have said this, Chris, but I didn't hear it or pick it up. It's actually the forward at any rate is by Davis Sobol, who
Oh.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
yes, I'm just going through that book right now, because I'm going to be reviewing it. But what it's about is, when the preparations were being made in the 1960s for Apollo to go to the moon, the folks at the United States Geological Survey prepared very detailed maps of the moon, and they're reproduced in this book. But it's kind of a bit of a launching pad for all sorts of discussions about the moon, like, for example, how it was seen in ancient times, and then, right up to the present day. And of course, it talks about the space exploration, but all sorts of things, like, for example, natural cycles, including natural cycles in women and things like that. Just all sorts of things, I can't I can't wait to show it to Randy because I know he's gonna love it. So
Yeah, and the subtitle that might help you, David, is A History of the Moon in Myths, Maps, and Matter.
Oh, I think I have to get it.
Yeah, it's both like now maps and what might interest science, but also the cultural aspect.
Yeah, I
well,
love
to tell you the truth, like I have this thing to review, and it's a beautiful thing, but I'm actually thinking of giving it to our library when I'm done with it. So
is it quite readily available?
I
Is it
ordered, by the way, it is coming out in softcover. So
okay?
but it's only available in hardcover now, hence why I ordered the hardcover. So maybe the small cover is smaller.
I'd rather have the hardcover
I don't
anyways.
know. I think you would, if they make it smaller, you would lose a lot of the impact of it. It's very, very well illustrated, and with stuff beyond those maps. And there's just it's just if you want to lose yourself in the moon, that's a great place to do it.
Yeah.
When is Randy's birthday?
He's being quiet.
I think he's fallen
I
asleep.
will definitely recommend it to my crowd.
He's sleeping.
I think Gary's got his hand up.
Oh, Gary.
Yeah.
Gary.
Thank you. So something occurred to me about James DeFrancesco. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on at the Dominion Astrophysical Observatory, and nobody knows about it. When I was working there, I was really on their case about getting to be more well known in the local community and also across the country. And they just simply aren't able to do it because head office won't let them do that. But if we had, for example, Lauri, maybe you could talk to them about it. If we had James come in and just say, "What do you do?" it would be truly a fascinating talk.
Yeah.
They do stuff up there you just have no idea about. I'm friends with a lady that's actually working on adaptive optics up there right now. And they just do cool stuff, like taking the twinkle out of stars. How hard is that? It's really, really hard, and it's very, very cool what they do here.
I'll just respond a bit to that, Gary. I'm in semi frequent communication with James about speakers for our monthly meetings. He's already indicated, but it was a few months ago, that he wants to come back to RASC to give us a presentation. It's just he's super busy, but I did ask him to see if he'd come in September, actually to kick us off this year, but he just couldn't do it. But he did say that he wants to.
Okay.
It's just and he knows that we'd like to have him already. It's just a matter of, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that if it's not this year, it'll be next. I'll ask him again for next September, maybe.
It'll be awesome. Good idea.
Another topic that came up tonight that would be helpful for one of these sessions, I guess we're having that. I guess that's what Natasha was saying. She'd asked Randy. But it would be interesting to see the results of that solar probe, right?
Yeah, there actually hasn't been as much released about that as I mean, from the most recent event as I would hope. But you know, I suspect that some of it is still being sent back to Earth, and often with these sorts of things, that information comes out, you know, in the form of academic papers. You know, like you'll see, you know, a special issue of Science or Nature or something like that, which is just full of stuff. And I'm wondering if that's the case here, because you know, you have all sorts of different instruments doing different things, and you know, you know, some people get a little uptight about, you know, what they call instant science. So I'm wondering if that's the case here.
Yeah, makes sense. They need to process it and interpret it, the data.
Yeah, that's right. So you know, there could be something like that, or it may be that they might have a press conference or some sort of event. But so far I haven't heard of anything.
Gary.
Forgot to take my hand out, sorry.
Alrighty. David.
Oh, there I am. Lauri, she's got her hand over her lips. For the last couple of months, Lauri and I have been sort of chatting back and forth about something called Nova. But I think Nova is almost ready to launch. What do you say? She's nodding.
Close. Yeah, it's close.
Yeah,
And
so
we're hoping that we can do something in February and March.
yeah, so just to explain what NOVA is, I think for those of you who don't know, it's a set of I would call them primer courses. Probably not for anybody who's really experienced, but for people that are just starting, a good set of primers.
And it'll be over a set of weeks.
What does that mean? Primers, sorry.
Primer, meaning that it's not meant to be super complete. It's meant to sort of initiate your learning in each of the topics. I mean, it's pretty good for some of the basics, but then when there's more detailed stuff, we expose you to it, but we don't necessarily go into great detail. It just provides a launching point for more learning.
In observing the universe?
It has a bunch of stuff in it. It's got some history in it. Are we including history, Lauri? I can't remember. Yeah, there's some history. There's some basic celestial navigation stuff. The fact that how things move in the universe. There's some basic observing skills. There's a section on hardware if you're interested in how to shop for a telescope. Yeah, basic planning tools. There'll be a section on tools, things like that.
Are the NOVA primers going to be written material or are these videos?
They are us. They're human animators, such as Lauri and myself. And I think I may have talked Kirsten into helping us as well.
So this is
Anybody who's actually experienced in any of these areas, we would welcome your expertise in doing presentations as part of NOVA.
It's that kind of lesson plans, right? You'll have a bunch of things that you're to.
We already have lessons plans. We already have.
Right? That's
Pardon
what
me?
it is. Right? That's what it is, right? It's a series of lessons.
Yeah, but we have presentations, like there's PowerPoints. There's going to be active learning pieces to it as well. We're actually going to be doing things. Hopefully this is up at the center of the universe, so we'll actually be able to handle real equipment and things that we probably wanted to do several years ago before the pandemic.
It's intended to be taught, not self-paced.
Correct.
That's right. That's right. It was originally geared because we were doing it during the pandemic that it would be online as well. But I think it would be much better in person. So we're looking at, maybe, I don't know, 20, 25 people that might involve themselves in the course. And it would be over about 8 weeks or so, something like that. And there'd be an observing piece for each one of them. It's called New Observers to Visual Astronomy. So that's the key part, is that it's observing and how to do the observing and what to observe and all that kind of thing. So there is a little bit on some cosmology and stuff at the end, but that's not its basics. It's not its basic primary thing is kind of theoretical stuff. It's very hands-on stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, and the other thing is that we're also inviting the public. It's not just for RASC members. So it's going to be open to the public. So we're hoping to get a good response.
If I may suggest, in my former life, one of my specializations was curriculum design. So this is an excellent pilot, if you called it a pilot, and collected information on how effective it was. And
well, we certainly would appreciate your feedback, Sonic, because I think I've actually taken a number of adult learning kind of courses, so I've got some metrics for evaluating these things as well. But yeah, it was actually produced by quite a number of RASC members across Canada. And it was done over time. A lot of people just did certain modules. I worked on maybe about 3 of the modules in earnest. And then since then, Lauri and I have sort of collaborated on missing pieces. So I've sort of added some pieces to it. But I'm really looking forward to the human engagement part. I mean, it's fine to do it over Zoom and over PowerPoints, but it's not the same as doing it in person.
But we'd certainly like feedback for sure. Yeah.
Yes, and in part what I'd welcome, help in contributing. But it's in part to say when I taught this as part of my specialization, I'd always say to the students, curriculum's never finished actually until you've delivered it once.
Never.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Always
absolutely.
to be changed. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we never, again, because this was developed during the pandemic, we didn't focus as much on active learning, like actually having people do hands-on things. But now that we're out of it, we definitely are going to do that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Let us know if you're interested as well.
All right. It's now 8:38. Is anyone have anything further to say? Alrighty, we're done. Thank you very much for attending. And we'll see you next week when Catherine Whitney is coming to talk about the concert that let me say, Ensemble Laude put together in the fall, in December, and the concert is being repeated in late January, and it's called, I believe it was called Stars.
Awesome.
We'll see you then.
Wednesday night, and we'll see everybody on Wednesday.
And Wednesday night, for sure. Okay, bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye, night.